Tonight, a CityNews investigation into police officers convicted of serious crimes but allowed to continue carrying the gun and wearing the uniform. Domestic violence, assault causing bodily harm, forcible confinement, as well as fraud. We spent weeks compiling difficult-to-access data from forces right across the GTHA, Toronto, Peel, York, Durham, and Halton regions. This officer seen wailing on a drunk and handcuffed suspect in the back of a cruiser is one of only 2 Toronto police officers to be fired for their criminal convictions in the last 4 years. The other officer kicked off the force had been convicted of stealing ketamine during a drug bust, ingesting the chemical in a police parking lot, and then trying to drive home but was so stoned he stopped his car in live traffic. Of the 27 criminally convicted Toronto cops who had scheduled tribunal hearings in the past 4 years, 2 were fired and 4 resigned before their tribunal could be held on charges ranging from sex assault to child pornography. All the rest kept their jobs, including those convicted of drunk driving and at least 2 instances of domestic assault. In the police tribunal judgment, there's an acknowledgement that a strong message needs to be sent that domestic assault will not be tolerated. One officer left his partner with a concussion. Another officer grabbed, shook, pushed her to the ground, toppled over a kitchen island, punched holes in the wall. You're wondering what were their punishments? This officer forfeited 15 days of pay, and this officer lost 17 days.
Picture, if you will, a police officer who has been convicted of domestic violence. The officers out on the beat, they get called for a domestic violence call. So they're now taking the statement of a complainant, potentially a woman or man, make it gender neutral. They're taking a statement of a complainant. They've just been convicted themselves of a domestic assault. Where's the credibility in managing the situation?
Let's take it in context. We're looking at 0.375% of my men and women. So the number is very low. And we know that this is an industry that deals with a lot of stress, and sometimes that stress can turn into unlawful behavior. So you have to take things into consideration as to what the cause is.
And here is the breakdown of convicted officers across the GTHA in the past 4 years who faced tribunal hearings for their crimes. 55 in total, convicted of everything from domestic violence and assault to fraud and drunk driving.
The tribunal has determined whether or not that police officer, can be rehabilitated, and we've had many officers who have been dismissed when they have been convicted, and some of them have stayed on.
But the reality is this: of the 55 criminal convictions, only 5 officers have been fired for their transgressions.
And I think that that's something that is very hard for chiefs to explain to the community, why we continue to employ some of the people that we do. And the reality is we're working within the legal context and the framework of the Police Services Act.
The police tribunal system itself is flawed, according to Julian Faulkner, because the investigator, the judge, and even the prosecutor are all police officers.
It's considered a kangaroo court. The police discipline process is horribly flawed. It just doesn't have any of the hallmarks of a fair, balanced process. So we don't hold our police officers accountable through good processes, and that's a shame.
Now, Ontario is the only province with paid suspensions during the court and tribunal process. That can take years. Officers also have their legal. Later in the show, some of the truly shocking crimes committed by cops, including the 3 police officers who dragged a 62-year-old man into a bathroom and brutally beat him during a police Christmas party. This investigation was sparked by a tip to our newsroom. If you have a story you believe should be told, here's how to reach us.